Arki City, CDP, and GreenAct. They are our partners for this webinar series. Next slide, please. So again, our last reminders for our CLP participants, we encourage you to send your questions in the question and answer chat room. The webinar facilitator will manage your questions in the chat room. All presentation materials in the PDF format will be uploaded in our CityNet website for easy access. Give us at least 2 to 3 days after each CLP session. And I know some of you are keen to complete this series, so there's a certification of completion statement that will be issued to the participants who will successfully complete the program. And please bear with the organizers if technical lag, web connection issues arise during the program. It's unavoidable in most parts. And let us know through the chat room if audio and video reception need improvement. And this CLP webinar is being recorded live. Next slide, please. So for our participants, we encourage you, how do you get your certification of completion? We're encouraging you to post questions in the open forum, in the Q&A, and in the chat room. Of course, this is our last series, so you should be here in our last session, session 3. And we will have to answer the 3 feedback exercises as the minimum requirement. So we refer you to the Zoom feedback email that you'll be receiving at the end of this session. And for the deadline for the feedback, it's going to be on September 28, 2020. That's going to be on Monday, 9 a.m. Korean Standard Time. Next slide. So thank you. So before we officially proceed to our webinar session 3 on resilience, innovations, and carbon trade in the Asia Pacific, let me introduce to you our facilitator for this session. We have Mr. Jeffrey Mulyono, who is a member board of director of the GreenAct Indonesia. Jeffrey started his career in heavy equipment distributor Group PT United Tractors TBK until ending his service in PT Pama Persada Nusantara as director and PT Berauqual as president in 2005. Afterwards, he was involved in several mining-related companies as president, director, independent commissioners, and advisors. He was a chairman of Indonesian Coal Mining Association from 2003 to 2006 and Indonesia Mining Association in 2006 as well. So, Sir Jeffrey, if you can take the floor, and we expect to having a productive day with you all. So, Sir Jeffrey.
Thank you, Polly. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. We'll start our session today. And not too long, I will introduce the first speaker, that is Mr. Liu King, who is in charge as a carbon market business manager in China Emission Exchange, Guangzhou. Liu King is graduated from Guangdong University of Foreign Studies and pursue further study as postgraduate in Loughborough University in United Kingdom. At CEEX Guangzhou, she has undertaken work on membership service and has also involved in knowledge exchange of Guangdong carbon trading. So we'll expect to have complete explanation for her. Ms. Liu, please, the floor is yours for the coming 20 minutes. Please.
Okay, I will share my screen with you. Can you see my PPT? Hello?
Hello?
Yes, we can see your PPT.
Yes, we see your PPT.
Okay. Okay. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's my great pleasure to be here today and have the opportunity to present for you. Actually, as the first speaker, I feel pretty nervous in face of so many experts and professors online. And if I have said something in a drop rate or incomplete, please feel free to figure them out and we can have some discussions later. And the topic of my presentation today is capital markets and green finance in CEEX. It will be divided into three main sections. They are the background of CEEX, Guangdong capital markets, green finance, and new energy assets investment and financing. Actually, they are also the major business lines conducted by CEEX during the daily practices in order to function as a critical institution to serve for the low carbon development in Guangdong province. Okay, now let's get started. To begin with, I would like to fill in you on the background of CEEX. And let me bring your attention back to 2011. Guangdong was chosen as one of the carbon emissions trading pilots amongst the 7 provinces and cities. And soon after, in 2012, CEEX was founded and was designated by the provincial government as the only trading platform of carbon emission trading pilots in Guangdong Pilot ETS. And in 2013, CEEX became the first bench of China certified emissions reduction trading institution certified by the NDRC. So, in a word, we can say that the CEEX is a significant infrastructure established to serve the low carbon development undertakings in the Guangdong province. And more broadly speaking, it was established to provide service for the ecological civilization construction and the green finance system construction. Okay, this slide tries to show you some of the qualifications CEEX has obtained during these years. And with these various qualifications, the business lines for CEEX has become more diversified. And in the next few parts, let's embark on the journey of exploring the Guangdong capital markets. It's well known that the ETS is a carbon trade system, which works by capping all kinds of greenhouse gas emissions for the participants in the system. And the cap for Guangdong capital market reaches 465 million tons in the 2019 compliance years. And there are 242 compliance entities and 23 wind projects covered in Guangdong Pilot ETS compulsory, while there exists some other voluntary market participants, such as the institutional investors and the individual traders. And both of them have played very important roles in enhancing the market liquidity for Guangdong capital markets. And
Okay, Miss Liu, I hope you can speak louder.
okay.
Okay, please speak louder. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
It's better now. Okay.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Let's continue. And this slide shows us a rough market system for Guangdong capital market by displaying the relationships between the market stakeholders. Lying at the very center of the market system, the exchange provides a spot market, or we say a trading platform, for various market participants, and it is governed and supervised by the Department of Ecology and Environment of Guangdong Province. In addition, there are a wide range of trading products and carbon financial services offered in the market. So in the following parts, I will select some of the key elements in the market structure to further explain to you. And let's first put our attention on the trading products traded in Guangdong Pilot. And primarily, there are 4 types of trading products circulated in the market. They are GDA, CCER, PHCR, and STCR. And I will pick 2 of the Guangdong's distinctive trading products and give you more information on them. One is the major trading product in Guangdong capital market, that is GDA, whose full name is Guangdong Emissions Allowances, and it is allocated by the competent department through free allocation or through auctioning. And up to now, the cumulative, let's look at some figures about GDA. Okay, as of early September 2020, the cumulative trading volume of GDA was about 158 million tons, and the turnover for GDA has totaled 3,170 million yuan, both ranking the #1 amongst other national pilot ETS. So if you are not so sensitive about the data I've just mentioned, we can cast our eyes on the pie chart below. Yeah, the blue pie representing Guangdong's market share, yes, has taken up the largest portion of the pie, right? Which shows that Guangdong capital market was taking a leading position, not only in the number of trading volume, but also in the turnover. And to go further, Guangdong capital market has given rise to be the 3rd largest carbon trading market, only after the EU ETS and Korean ETS internationally. Okay. The other Guangdong's distinctive trading product is PHCR, and it is a newly born trading product compared with the GDA. And PHCR is mainly generated from the low carbon behavior, from low carbon behaviors in Guangdong pilot cities. And it is mainly based on the Puhui offset crediting mechanism, which is a subnational mechanism that credits emissions reduction activities within Guangdong province. And PHCRs are primarily intended to be used by the compliance entities under the Guangdong Pilot ETS for their obligations. And similar to other Chinese subnational mechanisms, projects applying for PHCRs are not eligible to apply for CCERs again, and vice versa. The graph below tries to show you some more detailed information about the PHCR mechanism. And we can see that currently there are 5 project types developed under the mechanism, and we expect that there will be more project types developed in the future and be introduced to the mechanism. And the trading of PHCR is rather active since its launch. As of early September 2020, the cumulative trading volume of PHCR was around 3.46 million tons, and the turnover has reached around 60 billion yuan. The PHCR is very popular among the market participants for its versatile purposes, such as cancellation for by the compliance entities to fulfill their compliance obligations, or for public donations, or even carbon neutralization. Okay. So here I want to pick the Xiaoguan PHCR trading as an example to share with you. Xiaoguan is a city located in the north of Guangdong province, and it is abundant in the forestry resources. Since the launch of PHCR, Xiaoguan government has engaged in the PHCR developing and trading very actively. Authorized by the Xiaoguan government, CEEX has held bidding activities twice for the project owners from the pool villages in Xiaoguan province in 2018 and 2019 respectively, which have generated over 10 million yuan revenues for the project owners and provide strong support for Xiaoguan's government work on local poverty alleviation. And the project implemented in Xiaoguan falls into the forestry carbon sink project type. And there are also some projects such as distributed photovoltaics and cycling projects being carried out. But the PHCRs from the forestry carbon sink projects are still the majority. And the successful PHCR trading practices from Xiaoguan City has offered replicable lessons and experiences for other areas who also take interest in turning their green resources into gold coins. Okay. In addition to the diversified trading products, comprehensive carbon financial services can also be a plus for the client's eagerness to take part in Guangdong carbon market. And in addition to the fundamental services such as trading matching, other carbon financial services are also put in place to fulfill the market participants' different demands. For example, for the market subjects who have the demands in short-term financing, yes, the mortgage financing and the repurchase of carbon emission allowances might be suitable for them. And for the market participants who detect the loss brought by the price fluctuations, then they may prefer to conduct a forward trading. And custodial business of carbon emission allowances is designed for the compliance entities who tend to entrust their carbon assets to the professional institutions in order to maximize the value of their carbon assets. So actually, in recent years, most of the carbon financial services have witnessed great development, which indicates rising awareness for the market participants to treat their carbon allowances in hand as part of their company assets and employing the carbon financial tools to manage their assets. Okay. And some of you may wonder the relationship between carbon finance and green finance. Actually, carbon finance could be considered as a constitute of the green finance, while it sheds some light on the practical implementation or development of green finance. And we can draw on some lessons and experiences from the practices of carbon finance in terms of the project boundary, methodological standard, incentive mechanism, and coverage. Firstly, a clear boundary of the carbon market is good for project identifications. And secondly, a clear price signal of the carbon market is helpful for pricing of the green assets. And last but not least, a self-recyclable positive motivation mechanism of the carbon market can help solve the issue or can give some inspirations on the inadequate self-motivation of green industry development. And in the third part, we'll talk about something on green finance. Okay, so in recent years, a series of policies related to green finance have been launched, which has built up strong momentum for the development of green finance. And the CEEX also takes the initiative in playing an active role in the construction work of the green finance. We can see that CEEX has made very strong presence in all kinds of vital and professional institutions related to green finance in order to provide our assistance and competence, assistance and expertise with the top level standard design work, with the project management, as well as with the foundation of some related system and platform. So CES has taken part in the top level standard design work very actively, and the standards ranges from standards of carbon finance projects, standards of environmental rights financing products, standards of green funds, and standards of environmental information disclosure. And all of them have provided very helpful guidance to the practical implementation of the green finance. Some other practical outcomes have been achieved in the green finance. For example, CES has involved in the construction of green project library, and by building up the project library, the effectiveness to bring the green capital to the green project has been greatly enhanced. Yes, and currently, the green project library has performed well under CES and the CEX management, and up to now, the library has covered more than 2,000 projects, and the 22 projects have gained green norms. Amongst 18 of them have been given green loan subsidies. And another practices taken in the green finance area by CEX is the construction of the platform for ecological compensation. It is mainly based on the green finance system with its aim to connect the green funds or the green capital with the green products, or namely the ecological products. And so the first ecological compensation project implemented was the forestry carbon sinks from Huizhou Shuimei village. And SCE Pearl River Center purchased the credits from the project, and the revenues generated from the transaction were used in the protection work of the local pangolin. Okay, another innovation I want to mention about is the construction of the platform for the new energy assets investment and financing, supported and led by multiple professional organizations in the new energy area. It was founded in January 2018, and it is dedicated to build a comprehensive platform by providing services including investment, financing, trading, and some other value-added logistic services. Currently, there are 148 new energy assets projects included on the platform, and more than 1 billion yuan in renewable energy financing needs have been fulfilled. Besides, the platform has also conducted cooperation with 126 well-known new energy investors and built up strategic cooperation with 20 industry research institutes. Okay, so in the end, let's sort of recap what we've just talked about. So actually, just based on the major business lines carried out by CEEX, I have shared with you some facts and figures in regards to the area of capital markets, green finance, new energy investment, and financing. Although they run independently in the daily practices, yet they are interconnected and integrated with each other by sharing the same goal. In bringing more green to the pathway towards the low carbon economy. So that's all for my sharing today. Thanks for your patient listening. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Liu.
Okay.
There is one question before we move on to the other presenter. This comes from Ms. Camille Alhambra. She is asking, can you elaborate or explain further how forestry carbon sink projects are done? Is it clear, the question?
Let me paraphrase your question again. The audience asked me how the carbon sink projects are done, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Firstly, the areas with abundant forestry resources, right, may contact us, and they want to. They may ask us to help them to develop the emissions reductions produced from their forest, and then we may act like a bridge and find some professional institutions to them and to help them develop their forest resources. And if it is feasible, yes, some emissions reductions will be developed, and yes, and then they will be traded on our platform. And so the emissions reductions turn into kind of standardized products and be sold on our platform, and the project owners can gain revenues by doing so.
Okay.
So
I think.
So can I make myself understood?
Yeah. I think it's enough for now.
Okay.
We'll have another question later on the question and answer forum.
Okay.
Later on. So now we are going to start. Thank you very much for your presentation, Ms. Liu. And we are moving to the next presenter, Mr. Arya Bima. Bima Arya. Pak Bima Arya, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Thank you.
Okay. Pak Bima Arya, good afternoon. We are now having the second presenter, that is Major Bima Arya. He is the Mayor of Bogor City. Mr. Bima Arya is now in his 6th year as Mayor of Bogor City with all of development of the city. He completed his Master of Arts and Development Science in Monash University and doctoral in Political Science in Australian National University. By his presentation, we may understand deeper about how he can develop the city of Bogor, become the current situation because it's changed a lot from 6 years ago. Mr. Bima Arya Sugiarto, welcome to the CLP third session, and time is yours for you to present. Thank you.
Thank you, Pak Jeffrey Mulyono. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for the opportunity for sharing our experience in our beloved city of Bogor regarding the resilience innovations for low carbon. Climate model simulation shown in the year 2050 a drop in rainfall of up to 18% in some part of the city. And in contrast, other part of the city will experience rainfall of 27%. Meanwhile, a 30 years air temperature observation from year 87 to 2017 has indicated an upward trend in the city of Bogor and projected an increase of temperature up to 3 degrees Celsius in 2050. So this change in climate respectively will increase the chance of flood by up to 22%, landslide by up to 260%, drought 27%, and strong winds up to 28%. And as far as we're concerned, almost 60% of Bogor area is prone to flood, while simultaneously 40% of Bogor area potentially experience drought based on the simulation. These conditions potentially also cause contaminated water supply, increased disease, fire hazard, and carbon pollution if we do nothing. The city of Bogor has committed to play an active role in overcoming climate change that is happening at this very moment. Our vision of Bogor as family-friendly city is manifested through simultaneously developing a green city, smart city, and also heritage city. It is the three major identities of our beloved city of Bogor: smart city, green city, and heritage city, culminating into low carbon consumptions upon successful implementation. We have allocated 7.3% of our 2019 city budget for climate change adaptations and mitigations. And we are now raising more budget for this cause. We have issued 24 related regional regulations and 27 mayoral decree. And now we are ready to regulate more for these matters. And we have also collaborated with local governments, communities, non-government organizations, academics, and also private sectors. And we intend to collaborate more for this all to be happen. We have international NGO network to support us, such as ICLE, for example, of course, Clean Air Asia, AFB, IUS Plus, GIZ, SUTIP, and we are eager to network more for these matters. We directed our climate change adaptation and mitigation toward 4 dimensions: energy preservation, land use optimizations, waste management, and last but not least, health improvement. In preserving energy, initiatives involve rerouting and shifting our city transportations improving the quality of pedestrian, cyclists, and also pedestrian paths. Smart control of energy efficiency in public area. And we are now encouraging green transportations, gas fuel urban transport, and initiation of rail-based mass transit or tram. We are currently progressing to build a tramway in the city of Bogor. Hopefully, will begin by the end of next year. And optimizing the use of land through increasing green open space, developing urban farming, supporting environmental friendly agriculture, and redistributing city space, developing thematic village. So we are some sort of mapping the potential, the local potential that we are now having throughout the city, and we are improving the quality of city village. And we develop the thematic kampung in each spot. And we are also planting trees in critical lands and construction of retention ponds and absorption wells. In the health sector, we focus on the prevention and control of environmental health-related disease and application of smoke-free areas. Bogor is known as one of the champions if you are talking about the non-tobacco movement. Waste management initiative by improving management of the 3R system: reduce, reuse, and also recycle. Increasing domestic waste, water treatment facilities, improving communal septic tank facilities, improving community-based waste management, initiating Bogor without plastics. Since last year, we have banned the use of plastic bag in all of the modern market throughout the city. And we also endorse encouraging the implementation of the reverse naturalizations. We call it the naturalizations of Ciliwung, and imposing law enforcement in the waste management sector. I want to emphasize that climate change is probably not seen or not felt at the moment, but it is really very worrying. Imagine Bogor is really famous as the city of rain. We are known as the city of rain, Kota Hujan in Indonesia terms, with high rainfall levels. The city has also two big rivers, the Ciliwung rivers and Cisadane river. But what happened, since 2 years ago, there was a long drought, no rain in almost 6 months, and suddenly today it began to flood everywhere. Hence, we cannot belittle climate change issue. Our next course of action is to continue our current initiatives and start formulating method goes to climate improvement as feedback mechanism. We realize our limitations in providing budget for this cause and seek funding not from loans but through CSR, grant, and also public-private partnership or PPP. We took climate change seriously. Low carbon consumption is part of our priority. We have done so little, and we are, of course, willing to do much more and more. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Bima Arya. If there are any question from participant, you are pleased to raise up your hand. I cannot get from the list. Okay, if no one raise up the question, I will raise up one question to Mr. Bima Arya. What is your plan for the next remaining 4 years, which are not yet attained this time, Pak Bima?
Well, two things. First, we are continuing what we have been doing since 2 years ago, the program called Naturalization of Ciliwung, because it is, our priority to focus on the rivers. It's not only about cleaning up the locations, but also it's about improving the quality of life of citizens around there. And it also has a long-term impact because what we have been doing should be continued if we want the problem of flood should be completed soon. And second one is, it is also important for us to focus on building green transportation. As I said, we are now progressing toward building a new tramway in Bogor and also converting our small green minivan, we call it angkot, to the small minivan bus with the possibility of having electricity fuel. So we are looking forward to have two things, the river things and also the green transportation things. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other question from the other participant or?
Yes, Jeffrey. Jeffrey,
Yes.
I'm seeing one for Mayor. I'm seeing two actually, but for Mayor Bima specifically, if I may, Mayor Bima ask this question:
Please.
How does the COVID situation affect the Sept climate plans for Bogor City?
Pak Bima, please respond to Pauli question.
Yes, of course. We were impacted quite seriously by COVID-19 in terms of economic conditions, but we have done so many things to deal with economic situations. We have a program called economic rebound and also economic recovery, and we, as far as I am concerned at the moment, we have managed to have not a big impact of crisis by shortening the gap. So we still can allocate for our local budget for some priorities related to climate actions, such as naturalizations of Ciliwung, and also we are having a scheme with other part as well, such as a public-private partnership to fund any related activities. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Bima Arya. Mr. Bima Arya is also the survivor of COVID, like myself. I have it on March, but you have it later.
Yeah.
So that is a proof that we can overcome the challenge.
Yeah. I was the first COVID positive case in the city.
Yeah. Okay. Pauli, any other question, Pauli?
I'm not seeing as of now, Sir Jeffrey. We can maybe later, if we have questions from our side, we will throw them back to the panel. But for now, no, none.
Okay. By having all the question being satisfied by Mr. Bima Arya, I think it's time for us to say thank you very much, Mr. Major Bima Arya Sugiarto, for all the presentation explanation. Hopefully your plan for the coming period will be fulfilled and achieved, so make Bogor is more greener and more convenient to live in, also
Thank
to
you.
visit as a tourist.
Thank
you
you,
very
Pak.
much. If you have any message to us, Pak?
Stay healthy and be happy for everyone.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Bima Arya. Okay. So let's come back to the major session. If there is any question for Miss Ling.
Yes. If I may, Jeffrey.
Yes. Sure.
I'm seeing some question.
Sure, Pauli.
Should have to type it. Yeah.
Okay. I cannot get it.
Okay, so Sir Jeffrey, we don't have live questions now, so we can move on to the next session.
Okay. Now, because while waiting for another question, we can move on to the third session that is presenting by Ms. Dr. Felicia Jiang, Associate Researchers of Natural Resources. Okay. Dr. Jiang has a Doctor of Engineering Management, DE of Resources Management and Technical Economic Evaluation from School of Geoscience and Surveying Engineering in China University in Mining and Technology, Beijing. She is a current Associate Research Fellow of the Information Center of Ministry of Natural Resources in the People's Republic of China. Major area of the study is mining policy, research, and public administration and natural resources. Ms. Jiang, the floor is yours for the coming 20 minutes.
Yeah. Dear Mr. Jeffrey, dear Mr. Secretariat of CityNet.
Yeah.
Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Dear delegates, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I'm Felicia Chang, a Doctor of Engineering of Project Management, graduated from China University of Mining Technology, Peking. I'm associate researcher of Information Center of Ministry of Land and Resources. It is my pleasure to have this opportunity to attend this webinar session of CityNet. My topic is the development and outlook of green GDP. Green GDP is a system of environmental economic accounts. Abbreviation is SEEA. Next. It is different. Next session. It is different from the traditional system of national economic accounting GDP. It is a measure of the economic and social development level of a country or region after deducting non-market costs such as environmental pollution cost, resources depletion cost, and other hard to quantify social service cost on the basis of traditional GDP counting. Looking around the world, the United States, Japan, and the European Union and other major development countries are all exploring green GDP accounting. The United States has the EESA satellite account, and Japan has SEA water. It can be said that timely starting green GDP accounting and compiling natural resources balance sheet is a work in line with the requirements of China's current economic development stage and the development trend of the world era. Next. This is the next. This is the Newmont Mining Corporation consolidated balance sheet. As we all know, green GDP accounting is related to resources. The United States SEA framework divides the resources into 7 categories, including energy. Including energy. Next stage. The PPT next stage, please. Including energy, mineral resources, soil resources, land resources, water resources, foreign resources, and aquatic resources. The topic I would like to discuss with you today is green development in mineral resources area. In recent years, China has implemented the restoration of mine geological environment actively, the green exploration advocated, and the construction of green mines comprehensively advanced. Full support policies were clearly defined, and a series of typical models of green mines construction were established. Green exploration, can minimize the negative impact on the ecological environment by using advanced new method, equipment, and technology. In the recent years, guided by the green development idea, based on the sustainable development of mineral exploration, China has promoted advanced experience actively. At first, efforts were made in green exploration standards. The green exploration guidelines were issued in accordance with the implementation opinions. Techniques like drilling instead of trenching, multi-hole drilling in a platform, and multi-drilling branches in a drilling hole were promoted. The second, industry standard for non-metals, chemicals, gold, coal, sandstones, onshore oil and gas, metallurgy, non-ferrous metals, and etc. have been formulated in terms of 6 factors: mine environment, resources development methods, comprehensive utilization of resources, energy saving and emission reduction, scientific and technology innovation, as well as enterprise management and image. The standards were put forward for the construction of green mines. The third, next. The third, built pilot regions for the development of green mine industry. The announcement of construction of pilot regions of green mines development was issued by the Office of Ministry of Natural Resources. Pilot regions were selected in cities and all counties with relatively abundant resources, relatively concentrated mines, favorable mining order, and high enthusiasm of local governments in terms of principle of policy guidance. One scheme for one region, innovation driving, and demonstration guiding, aimed at the judgment of the mining industry structure and the promotion of the construction of green mines and the innovation of green development management. Through a series of measures, green mines have made remarkable achievements in comprehensive utilization of resources, energy saving, and emission reduction, which reflect the high level of green development of the mining industry. A number of typical models have been established and have played a leading role in the efficient exploration of oil and gas resources, comprehensive utilization of metal minerals, chemical industry, modernized mining operations. For example, the green mine construction of Yunnan Phosphate Group Company is very successful. It is this phosphorus group company is the raw materials supply basis of phosphorus compound fertilizer and chemical industry in Yunnan province. It is the largest modern open pit in China. The mines are all national green mines. It promotes the Jaban street mining technology vigorously adheres to the strategy of combining both of rich and poor resources, stores low-grade mines that cannot be used for the time being, scraps phosphorate tailing in the tailing ponds, raises the recovery rate to more than 97.5%, recovers more than 84%, and uses 95.21% of resources. Comprehensive performance and economic indicators are at the advanced level of the chemical industry all over China. The company set up a leading group for ecological environment restoration, improve the production processes of mining and stripping, concentrate the discharge of mining stripping to Gulf, and carry out land reclamation project, planting green cash crops in Gulf. The reclaimed vegetation area has formed a certain scale of ecological forest, economic forest, landscape forest, afforestation of more than 2,500 hectares. The land reclamation rate reached 94%. The company development the harmonious construction between the enterprise and the local villages actively. The company's mining rights area of more than 3,000 square kilometers, involving 11 villages and towns. The company invested more than 3 billion yuan in the local construction of 7 key projects, driving 35 surrounding villages, more than 50,000 villagers to get rid of poverty and become rich. Through advanced technology, the company improved the comprehensive utilization rate of phosphate rock resources, built a green mine demonstration base of China. Through the harmonious co-construction of enterprise and local society, promoted the development of local economy, and realized the green and sustainable development of China mining resources. The company has built its four main mines into national green mine, and realized the construction of 3 types of mines with resources saving, safety and environmental protection, and harmonious mining land. The development of green mines is the requirements of the sustainable development of mining industry of China, and the future trend of the healthy development of mining industry in the world. China is taking on the responsibility of a large country and actively investing in energy conservation and emission reduction of green mining. We have reason to believe that the next few decades, China will more actively advocate low carbon life, promote the intensive utilization and comprehensive development of resources and energy, and contribute great strength to the sustainable economic and social development of China and the world. Okay, that's all for today. Thank you for listening.
Okay, Jeffrey, you're muted. You're muted, Jeffrey.
Sorry, as still not yet unmute. Thank you very much, Ms. Jiang. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I don't see any question from participant. I will start with one question. In the reforestation and the make use of the land, usually what plantation is used for the public? You get my
Mr.
question?
Jeffrey, yeah, Mr. Jeffrey, I beg your pardon, please. Can you
Okay.
write your question here? Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
In
so
the reforestation of the X mining area, usually what kind of plantation is put on the land? Is it vegetables or tree? Or what? You get my question?
I beg your pardon, Jeffrey. Sorry, I can't hear you clearly.
okay, Sir Jeffrey.
Yes.
Yes, if we'd love if you can we can just type your question so Miss Felicia can actually answer it in a little while in the Q&A chat box. It'll
Okay.
be better for Dr.
Please, we can move to the other question. I think there is another question. Okay. Okay, I will type it. What?
There's actually one question from here that I'm seeing. This is for Dr. Jiang again. In the question, it said in the box, it says, how can you convert mines into green mines? And they're saying some examples, please.
Yeah.
Yeah. How can you convert mines into green mines?
Yes.
Some example, please.
Yes. Yeah.
To green mines. Yeah, in my opinion, green mines. How to say green mines? Green mines is mining which can minimize the mining pollution impact at the least, I think.
Okay, I think.
Yeah, minimize I think the green mine at first can minimize the negative impact on the ecological environment by using advanced new methods and technology.
Okay, I think because the time is running, I think it's better to answer by written later on. So we'll end up the session of Miss Felicia Jiang, and we move forward to the next presenter. Is it okay for you, Miss Felicia Jiang? Hello. I think the internet
Yes,
is not.
I think we will have to answer it, Jeffrey, through writing. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Ms. Jiang, thank you very much for your good presentation. And for some question, you may answer it by typing later on. For that, we applause for Ms. Jiang.
Okay, thank you for listening.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now coming to the fourth presenter, that is Mr. Dicky Erwin Hindarto, as an advisor of Joint Crediting System. Mr. Hindarto has strong professional background on the market-based mechanism, energy engineering, national and international experience in climate change negotiation, sustainability, and environment. Mr. Dicky Hindarto as well works as an advisor for Indonesia Joint Crediting Mechanism and later on he will explain about the GCM sample. I think for not holding the time too long, I think I will rather hand it over the floor to Pak Diki. The floor is yours for the coming 20 minutes. Thank you, please.
Thank you, Pak Jeffrey. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Glad to join this meeting. And my name is Diki, and I will present the topic that I'm asked to be presented. So my topic is how to finance emission reduction using market-based mechanism scheme. So I will put the study case of the GCM or the joint credit mechanism development in Indonesia. Yeah, this is my profile. Like Pak Jeffrey said, that currently I'm working for the joint credit mechanism implementation in Indonesia, and I also have many organizations that are working in climate change and emission reduction as well as the sustainability. So currently, I also act as an advisor and coordinator for Indonesia Low Emission Network. So this is Indonesia current standing. We know that Indonesia is not a perfect country, but we have a very strong commitment to reduce the emission. So we know that Indonesia have a very different microclimate from place to place, and we also have a lot of islands. So our challenges of the impact of climate change are very high. Currently, we have a lot of climate disasters in Indonesia. We also have man-made disaster. We also have the climate disaster. So this is Indonesia forest fire. You can see that this is very similar to what just happened in America. And we also have our plastic, our marine debris here. And we also face many flooding. Just yesterday, some of the part of Jakarta city was flooding. So this is the condition. But yes, we have developed emission reduction target policies and some infrastructure to reduce the impact of the climate change. We know and we really understand the situation. Therefore, we have a very ambitious target on emission reduction. And we are doing well before the COVID, and then suddenly the pandemic hit us. As we know that there are a lot of things happen in the past 6 months, and this is Jakarta, very empty now. And we also move all of the activities from the offices to home, from schools to home. And this also happened in many countries. The global energy consumption are declining. So this situation also happening in Indonesia. So I got the data from the IEA. This is the situation from January to April. There are a lot of decreasing in energy usage in many countries. And Indonesia also have the same condition. And the projection of the energy demand in 2020 are decreasing, and coal decrease, gas also minus, oil minus, nuclear also minus, but the renewable energy still positive. Why? Because people now begin to understand that the renewable energy are the thing that can not only not only reduce the emission, but also the renewable energy can be a good solution for the energy supply, the continuous energy supply. And this is the Indonesia pandemic impact on energy consumption. This is our 3 first month, and currently almost 50% of total of our industries are decreasing, and in transportation, more than 25% are decreased. So this make everything different from our future plan. This is the reality that we must face currently from day to day. This is in this graphic you can see this is the Indonesia pandemic victims from the day one until now. This is until 15th of September. You can see that every day we break our new records of the numbers of the infected people. This make Indonesia will soon enter an economic recession. So why I need to talk about all of the current situation and then as my introduction before I talk about the market mechanism, because it is very connected, and this have a very strong correlation between the pandemic and what will happen on next. And we know that this all is just the beginning. The COVID-19 is here, and the recession will come. Our Minister of Finance just said that Indonesia positively will go to recession, and the climate change are still the bigger threat than the COVID. And of course, the biodiversity collapse is our biggest threat, and it is in front of us on the few years ahead us if we are not ready. And what we have done so far is not enough, and the COVID-19 pandemic make everything worse. We have ambitious target, we have many initiatives, and fossil energy is still dominant and everything, but this is not enough, and the COVID-19 pandemic make everything worse. That's why if we talk about the post-pandemic, we need to talk about what we need to do, what the right thing to do after the pandemic. So this is what we need to do, and we agree on this. And the government of Indonesia also agreed the importance of the green recovery here. So we are not going to the business as usual like the left here. The new normal actually is not new normal. We must think about the way forward, and this is the post-COVID situation that we need to achieve: greener, cleaner, and then more sustainable. And this we need to go to the right direction on this for the regenerating. So this is what we need to do. And just one example, during the COVID, the shifting paradigm of commercial building. This is a few years later, the old-style commercial building. And in Indonesia, currently we have a green building that some of the green building supported the market-based mechanism. And then we have started to talk about self-sufficient building by putting renewable energy on the solar rooftop and everything like that. But what we need to do now is not only the self-sufficient building, but we need to do the sustainable and healthy building implementation. So this is how the COVID speed up all of the process of the commercial building to be more sustainable and more healthy. And again, the financing is the biggest challenge on all of this. So we need to understand that if we only do the normal way, the business as usual way, the non-market based way, so we will need the government budget, we will need the private sector investment, we will need the foreign direct investment here. And in the next upcoming years, I don't think it can be easy, because the government budget are shrinking, private sector now are collapsed, and the foreign direct investment will do their own business in their own country. So what we can do is how to involve the uh, the private sectors by give them incentive and by attract the other countries to invest in Indonesia, but we can share all of the benefit together. So we can use this market-based mechanism. So if we talk about the market-based mechanism, we talk about the price of the carbon, and it is necessary to have national market, source of revenue, product process, and everything here to do the trigger behavior change. And this is the green city development financing that I understand that if we only rely on the government budget, so we will very dependent on national budget. And if we rely only on private sector investment, so it will be dependent on the profit and benefit and must be supported with good policies. And if we do only the international support, we need to have a strong commitment on bilateral and multilateral cooperation. But if we do the market-based mechanism, we can mix all of this, and then it will be more transparent and more accountable. This is the benefit of market-based mechanism implementation that I have experiences. So the emission reduction is real, environmental quality improvement is there, the new possibilities of private sector involvement, financial feasibility, cost saving, competitiveness, access to capital, technology transfer, and capacity building investment. And this is the market-based mechanism that already implemented in Indonesia. We have a CDM, but there are no new projects until from 2012, and we have the bilateral joint credit mechanism with Japan. We also have the voluntary gold standard friendly for and everything here, and this is our domestic market-based mechanism that now are currently are still in the process. So this is not operated yet. Only the nationality system is already operated, but other here the ICER and the BPDLH is still a plan. But we have a detailed plan on this. Hopefully, this upcoming years they will start. And this market-based mechanism can be categorized into international and mandatory market and domestic market here. This is international and bilateral here. And this is the voluntary and this is the mandatory. So we can categorize market-based mechanism in some categorization here. And what the difference between the market-based mechanism and other mitigation action is the MRV. So the MRV should be very clear, should be very transparent, accountable, and can be traceable. So we need to have the methodology, we need to have the measurement system, reporting, verification, and of course the registry. Then MRV ensures all the emission reduction will contribute positive for the sustainable development. MRV is a basic principle for a ton is a ton here. So this is the CDM development in Indonesia. We already have a lot of projects, but in 2012, the CDM project in Indonesia are stopped due to the lack of demand. So this is one of the Indonesia CDM project and geothermal project generation in Teraja. And this is the voluntary market that already developed in Indonesia. We are very much enjoy the VCS system. We have now 15 VCS project. 13 project is issued and 63 million voluntary carbon unit are already sold. So our biggest project in the VCS is in Avolu or afforestation and land use here. We have 4 projects, and the projects are the biggest in the world. We also have hydro and geothermal. And in Plan Vivo, we also have 19 project that already issued 466,000 credits. And sorry, this is gold standard, and this is Plan FIFO. We have 3 projects that issued 92,000 credit. So these projects, this scheme are different. So we can choose which scheme that are appropriate for our project. And this is GCM. GCM is the bilateral cooperation between Indonesia and Japan. This is the first bilateral cooperation that use this system. And currently we have 39 projects. We have already issued 56,524 CO2 emission reduction. And we also already attract the investment of 135 million US dollar total investment. This is the scheme of the GCM. You can read it in my presentation later on. But the principle is that Japan will give the technologies and then the financing support and also capacity building to the host countries. Indonesia is one of the host countries of the GCM. The GCM now currently have 16 host countries, and we have the MRV methodologies that are developed by joint committee to measure all of the emission reduction and for the carbon credit issuance. So this is the GCM infrastructure. Every market-based mechanism have its own infrastructure, and here this is the very rigid infrastructure that we develop. We have the guidelines, we have the rules, we have procedure, methodology, and system, and etc. etc. This is to ensure that the emission reduction are the real emission. And this is the financing scheme that we have developed. We have a financing scheme from the government of Japan, up to 50% of the grant from the Ministry of Environment Japan. We also have from the METI more than 50% of the support for the subsidy on every project. And the third is we have what we call the GCM ADB project that support us with a mix between loan and grant. And it will be more than 100 million US dollar project that we need to develop here. Yes, this is methodology of GCM, the eligibility criteria, monitoring method, emission reduction, etc. Are need to be explored here. And this methodology, GCM methodology system currently are being adopted by ISO 14080 for the methodology development of the climate change methodology development. This is the GCM methodology development system, and here in GCM, this is the first market-based mechanism that allow the city-to-city cooperation. So between the cities in Indonesia and city of Japan, city in Japan, we are trying to do the matchmaking process. And currently we have 5 city-to-city cooperation between Surabaya and Kitakyushu, Bandung and Kawasaki, Batam and Yokohama, Semarang and Toyama, and Jakarta and Kawasaki. Jakarta and Kawasaki is the newest one. And we are now trying to develop the green building and green industry in Jakarta. So every city-to-city cooperation have their different characteristic, and now we are very confident that by using the city-to-city cooperation, not only the private sector, but we can also develop a city cooperation. This is a GCM project example. We do implement the bus rapid system in Semarang, change the diesel oil fuel to gas. We have replaced 72 diesel buses owned by Trans Semarang to the gas system. And the second project example happened in South Sumatra in Indonesia. This is for the Asian Games building. Asian Games 2018, the government of the South Sumatra working together with Japan project participant, the private sector, and they can develop this IPP 2 megawatt of the solar power plant. And this is the project under the city-to-city cooperation for the green building in Surabaya. We encourage the cooperation of the Surabaya private sector with the Hitachi private sector to develop the first shopping mall that use the energy efficient shopping mall in Surabaya. And fourth is the project for the co-generation and between private sector and near Jakarta. We also have our biggest project is 51 million US dollars. We try to capture the hot air to generate the electricity. So we confident that in one project we can reduce the emission more than 100,000 tons CO2 per year. Okay, what will be our GCM contribution to the NDC achievement? We believe that our direct emission reduction that come from credit and non-credit emission reduction can support the NDC and green technology knowledge transfer, including capacity building through implementation of renewable energy and energy efficiency, so can benefit all of the stakeholders and accelerate local and regional low carbon development implementation through city-to-city implementation and fund mobilization, including feasibility study of green technology development. And of course, we will do the replication of implemented proven GCM technologies to other projects. So thank you very much. Stay safe and stay healthy. Now I am doing everything in my home. This is how I do the presentation is in my own home. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Deki. I don't see directly question delivered to you, but I open one question. What is the main failure factor for the intention of having carbon funding? What is the most reason to be failed?
You mean that the biggest threat? If we do the market-based mechanism, particularly in Indonesia, the transparency of the project participant is our biggest challenge. So in Indonesia, if we deal with the private sectors, they are very difficult to be transparent. So, for example, if the Indonesia private sectors work together with the Japanese private sector or with other country private sector. So because of the business credential and the business secret, they are very difficult for them to open the discussion and then to start the transparency system to develop the project. This is first. Second is about the human resources. If we talk about the human resources, in almost every project, we also need to develop their human resources, meaning that almost all of our GCM projects and other market-based mechanism project in Indonesia, we need also to give a lot of capacity buildings, a lot of knowledge sharing before the project or the system can be implemented. So okay. That's my answer, Pak Jeffrey.
Okay, thank you very much. Gentlemen and ladies, do you have any other question? Yes, please.
Jeffrey, if I may, I'm seeing questions here to be addressed to Mr. Diki. There's one, any general recommendation or tips as to how the projects can be replicated? You've mentioned 5 city-to-city projects.
Yeah.
They're interested as to very briefly how did they go about it? Like for example, in the project on energy saving for air conditioning at a Japan mall. Did Japan send the units?
Yeah.
Did they fund it? If you can give us some general process on the city-to-city cooperation. Thank you.
Please, Pak Diki.
Yeah. In every project and in every activities, we encourage all of the stakeholders that are involved in the GCM and Indonesia market-based mechanism. They need to be transparent. So this is our first requirement. So meaning that in every project, we do a lot of public outreach and communication. For example, for example, I have a project that are currently still ongoing that just integrate their first unit connected to the PLN. This is a project of hydropower generation, 10 megawatt hydropower generation using the most highest technology and turbine and hydro turbine. And during the projects, during the development of the project in 3 years, we asked the project developers or the project participant to at least every year they must have a kind of seminar and a kind of public communication to the local media and to the national media to show their project development and to attract another project participant to understand. And regularly in the GCM Secretariat, every year we have at least 5 seminars, 5 national seminars for the national outreach of the result of the projects. So the project itself is mandatory for the project to disseminate the result. And for us as the Secretariat, every year we conduct at least 5 seminars, 5 national and international seminars to disseminate the result and the current condition of the implementation. So this actually happened in Indonesia, and we are happy that not only the GCM project, but some of the projects that are not using the GCM scheme also replicated our technology. So there are 2 replication. First, the replication in the same system, and second is the replication but not using the same system. I mean that they replicate but not using the GCM scheme. So this is already happened in Indonesia.
Okay, thank you, Pak Diki. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we must end up Pak Diki's session until this. Thank you very much, Pak Diki, for sharing your experience and your understanding to all of us. Hopefully, we can catch more information from your experience. Thank you very much. Give applause to Pak Diki.
Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are moving to the next presenter. That is Mr. Alendri B. Angeles. Alendri is acting as a City Environment and Natural Resources Officer and Solid Waste Management Officer in Pasig City, Philippines. Alendri obtained a bachelor degree in civil engineering, and he is currently pursuing his master degree in public administration. He has been a solid waste management officer of Pasig City for 13 years now. He has been headed the major task force on climate change mitigation and adaptation. He was appointed as an acting City Environment and Natural Resources Officer on October 2019. There is number of good track record. As a solid waste management officer, he led Pasig City to bag numerous awards, which include the prestigious Manila Bayani Award 2017, back-to-back awarded as Manila Bayani for National Capital Regional for year 2017 and 19. Asian Clean City Tourism Award in Chiang Mai, Thailand in 2018-2020, and a consistent awardee of implementing innovation on solid waste management and the best local government unit on solid waste management. Mr. Alendri, we are all waiting for your explanation about how to manage the waste management. I think the coming 20 minutes is yours. Please start on your presentation. Thank you.
Mr. Alendri, you're muted.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am Allen Angeles, Pasig City Solid Waste Management Officer
Good
and
afternoon.
concurrent Natural City Environment and Natural Resources Officer. It is my honor to share with you Pasig City's experience. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Pasig City is back po. Back, please. Pasig City is geographically surrounded by bodies of water, making us vulnerable to climate change as well as natural disasters. We have 30 villages, and these villages are all surrounded by bodies of water. We are bounded by cities of Marikina, Makati, Mandaluyong, Quezon City, Taguig, and the municipality of Taytay and Cainta, making us the gateway to the province of Rizal. Next slide, please. In 2017, the city government, in partnership with the CLEI, conducted its greenhouse gas emission inventory in order for us to address the various sources of greenhouse gas emissions. Illustrated are the top three sources, namely stationary energy, transportation, and rank third is solid waste, which is equivalent to 1,443,958.01 tons carbon dioxide equivalent. Next slide, please. For stationary sources, we strengthen the implementation of our existing ordinance, which requires potential sources of pollution to install anti-pollution devices. We also expanded our installation of solar PVs in 13 locations of Pasig City. Since transportation ranked second, we promoted biking and established 4 carless Sunday lanes where people can enjoy streets free of vehicles even for a day or two. The city government also procured 18 buses for communal transportation in key locations of Pasig City. We also required the replacement of two-stroke vehicles or tuk-tuk to electric vehicle. Pasig City also initiated the procurement of 2 ferry boat, which is now being utilized in Pasig River, which crosses 4 local government units such as Pasig, Mandaluyong, Makati, and the city of Manila. Next slide, please. This is the illustration of our electric tuk-tuk or tricycles. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. We also strengthened the apprehension of mobile pollution sources, such as private vehicles and public utility vehicles. Pasig City government apprehends more than 12,000 vehicles annually. Next slide, please. On waste management, we innovate through soft programs such as the Mobile Recyclable Redemption Center, and encourage households to surrender their waste in exchange for basic commodities. To divert our kitchen waste, which is 37% of our generated solid waste, we expanded our composting facilities with mechanized and manual composting techniques and technologies. Next slide, please. Because community participation is very important, we also involve our community in creative recycling, and their production is now exported to more than 17 countries worldwide. What you are now seeing on screens are bags and decorative handicraft. We also recycle coconut husk to produce charcoal briquettes, which we are currently producing and diverting 15,000 kilograms of coconuts. Next slide, please. We believe that children must start recycling when they're still young, and that is why we involve them in our Green Heart Savers program. 4,000 kilograms of recyclables are collected in an average of 4,000 kilograms per month. Next slide, please. In our schools and other government facilities, we use bokashi composting technology in diverting our generated kitchen and biodegradable waste. Next slide, please. Due to COVID-19, our infectious waste also increased by double due to the utilization of PPE. As you can see on screen, we are generating almost 15,000 tons of hospital waste, which mostly are composed of PPEs during this pandemic. Next slide, please. For the management of infectious and hazardous waste, we are now massively informing and campaigning on the proper utilization and disposal of infectious and hazardous waste in order for us to eliminate the spread of COVID-19 within the city, as well as affecting the lives also of our solid waste collection personnel and contractor. Next slide, please. As part of our future programs, we are already in the pipeline on the procurement and purchase of waste compactors, which will be utilized for 2 or 3 villages, establishment of a mobile recyclable redemption and the mobile MRF for critical and pilot areas, provision of PPE for infectious and hazardous waste management teams and collectors and drivers, provision of additional treatment or STPs or WTF for healthcare facilities, particularly handling COVID-19 patients, establishment of database for infectious and hazardous waste per healthcare facilities. Next slide, please. Establishment of this frequent disinfection and the distribution of disinfection kits to our different villages and barangays. As part of our sustainable food production, we are establishing several urban garden sites which utilizes all our recycled and generated compostable materials in our Pasig City Hall building, special school for the special children, rooftop, the PLP HRM building, which is a university for our college students, rave, urban garden, and promotion of urban gardens in our public schools. Next slide, please. For cleaner environment, we have institutionalized that cleanup drive operation should be conducted regularly. We have been implementing cleanup drive operation every Wednesday in several areas which are prone to the spread of dengue and now COVID-19 to make the life of the community easier and cleaner and promote waste recycling and management in different areas of the city. Next slide, please. Currently, we have 100 urban garden sites which are maintained by our street sweepers, 40 in our schools, and the maintenance of a tree nursery. And we are now with international organization engagements such as ICLEI and other non-government organizations which are now interested to partner with the city government. Next slide, please. For our future programs, we are to update our solid waste analysis and characterization study. We are also in the process of updating our 10-year solid waste management plan, which will expire on September of 2024. We will be updating also our local climate change action plan, and we will be updating also our greenhouse gas emission inventory. And we are now in partnership with ICLEI, so we have several programs also on climate change mitigation and adaptation, such as Accelerate and other programs which use different platforms to get also the participation of the community as well as certain individuals for climate change mitigation and adaptation. Next slide, please. With these continuous efforts, we have garnered several awards for the city. Next slide, please. We are now the current holder of the ASEAN Clean Tourist Awards, which will expire this year. We have been also recognized by our local Department of the Interior and local government for the implementation of different programs for our waterways. Next slide, please. We have been awarded by the Livable Community Awards in 2013. Next slide, please. We are also one of the LGU Eco Champions, which was awarded in 2016. Next slide, please. We were also given Exemplary Performance Award for Environmental Governance by the ASEAN and by the Department of Environment and Natural Resources. Next slide, please. We are also a Galing Po awardee for the Bayanihan sa Daan Sustainable Transport. Next slide, please. And we are also part of the Ambitious City Promises. We are also an awardee, second place worldwide, second to Jakarta, Indonesia, in the One Planet City Challenge. Next slide, please. For more details, you can see the email of our office in the screen and our contact numbers. Thank you very much, and that would be all for Pasig City.
Thank you, Alendri. We all been updated with what you're doing. I found several questions from the participant. Number one is, in the pandemic situation, do you see any additional waste of mass being spread over in the street? Any comment on that?
It doesn't happen frequently because we do door-to-door collection of solid waste.
Okay. So
But
all
in
of
our Yeah, but in our healthcare facilities, there is a separate contract for healthcare waste produced and generated in our COVID-19 facility.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. Now come from myself. When you producing buhasi, is it for their own use or for sellable in the farmer among the farmer?
We only use it for our gardens because we already have 100 gardens in the entire city.
Okay.
It is sufficient enough to be utilized. It's like a circular economy. We just use it for our own consumption. We produce it for our own consumption. Some of the excess, we have it sold also for the public when there are several programs and activities which would involve the private sector also to participate. We have them exposed to the availability of bokashi compost.
Okay. Okay. I think that's all from the floor and myself. Any
Yes,
other question
Jeffrey.
from the floor? Yeah, Pauli, please.
Jeffrey, I'm seeing some questions here from our end. So there's this one from Engineer Alhambra. She says, aside from transportation and waste, a large part of carbon emission is from stationary energy. So I think Alendri must have mentioned it earlier, but can you give examples of this stationary energy that you were referring, sir?
Such as energy from industries and factories. We have been strengthening our implementation of installation of anti-pollution devices because some are still using conventional equipments which at some point produce
I don't get it.
emissions.
Mhm. Okay. Is it okay, Pauli? You get
Yes,
the
we're
answer?
very good. We're good.
Okay. One more additional question, Alendri. In Indonesia, I found in the pandemic situation, more and more people buying online shopping, and all the waste is increasing tremendously. Is it also happened in Philippines?
It
The
does, but it is not that significant.
very
It does, but
significant
it
here.
is not that significant.
The packaging. Usually the packaging
Yeah.
very thin, but now become very thick, and the plastic
Yeah.
also adding. Is it happen
But it
also?
really depends actually on the product. But in the Philippines, particularly in Pasig, it is not that significant. The increase in volume is not really affected by the packaging materials. Most
Okay.
especially coming from those online shopping platforms. No.
Okay. Okay. I think that's all. Pauli, any
Sir
other question?
Jeffrey? Yes, I'm seeing a question here from a participant, and Sir Dicky would like to answer this question live. So the question is, how is city-to-city cooperation implemented? Example, what is Japan's role in the project? We're in energy saving for air conditioning at a shopping mall. Did Japan send the units? Did they fund it? Please elaborate.
Yeah, thank you very much for the question. It is usual if in the GCM and any other marketplace mechanism. Usually we always have what we call the feasibility study first, and from the feasibility studies we will know that which technology that will be sufficient and will be fit to the participant and to the project for the emission reduction. And from that, then in the GCM, sometimes the technology are coming from Indonesia, and it can also be from Japan and also from other countries. So depend on what the technology that will be implemented. So in case of the aircon in the mall that I already explained, the technology are coming from Japan, but all of the the Japan technology only the China, but if you know the aircon system in the buildings, it consists of chiller and also the cooling tower. So the cooling tower are coming from Indonesia. So there will be a mixed technology, the mixed product, but have and not only have but also guaranteed to have better energy efficient than the old technology. That's my answer.
Okay, thank you.
If there are more participants that want to implement, again, if they only want to copy the technology, so they can also copy the resources that we implement. But if they want to develop new technology, they need to have their own feasibility studies, and then they can apply to us.
Okay, great.
Any further question, Pak Pauli, or other?
I'm seeing one question, another question from here. How about the use of CDM? I think this is can be addressed by Sir Alentri. How about the use of CDM as means of raising funds?
Raising fund.
The CDM.
Anyone?
Yeah, probably Padiki can answer it.
Yeah, thank you very much. I have been developing the CDM for more than 5 years at that time. Yes, the CDM stopped implement in 2012 because of lack of demand on that time. Suddenly, the European Union doesn't want to buy the emission reduction credit from the developing countries, and only from the poor countries and underdeveloped countries. So what happened is will be after the implementation of the Paris Agreement that if there is no pandemic, it will be implemented started in 2021, as many countries currently proposing to reiterate the CDM. They want to develop the CDM again, and it is still the discussion is still ongoing. So once it is decided that the CDM can be part of the mitigation action that can be used for the international trading and international emission reduction, so the CDM then can be used as the mechanism that can be that can develop the emission reduction. But if the question are what will be the CDM emission reduction, if the question are the old CDM projects, how to use the credit from the old CDM projects. In Indonesia, many of the CDM projects that already issued the credits are already the credits are already sold, meaning that they already sell the credits to another country for certain times. But if they don't have any buyers, some initiative currently, like what have been developed like ICAO that are not developing the Corsia. The Corsia are decided to use the CDM as one of the emission reduction system. So they can sell the carbon credits to the new established international carbon market. That currently we have more than 30 carbon market in the world. So that's my answer. So sorry, it will be long answer is if I want to continue the question, because it will be very debated also on the need of the emission reduction in every international market that are now open in some countries.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you, Pak Diki. Pak Pauli, any other question from your side? There is one open question asking about anyone have implementation in Bangladesh, which I don't know the answer. I think this is open question to everyone.
Not me.
No,
Not yet.
nothing. Okay, Pak Alendri, Mr. Alendri, are you
No.
having experience? No.
No,
Okay. Okay, then we hold the question. I think by then we come to the end of the presentation, and I believe we have various presenter giving us and to enrich our knowledge about climate leadership program, which can combine together become a good initiative for us, good diversification for us to start on moving forward with the climate change leadership program. By ending up with the last presenter, Pak Alendri, thank you very much for your presentation, and we are handed back to Pak Pauli. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Sir Jeffrey. As we don't have any questions, we can go to our closing statement. May we ask our Deputy Secretary General, Ibu Aiza Tobing, who's here this afternoon, to give us a closing statement for our climate leadership program. This has been our initiative for years now in CityNet Secretariat, doing this leadership program annually with Jakarta City as our host, and then Pasar City as our host last year. And there's been a very good reception in terms of attendees and participation. Just for this year, we're doing it online. That's why, hopefully by next year, we'd love to see all of you again as we do our CLP next year, later part of next year. So I'm seeing Ibu Aiza, maybe Ibu Aiza, if you can give any closing statements first regarding our CLP sessions. We did this last Wednesday and this Wednesday, please.
Yes, Pauli, thank you very much. Finally, we have done our webinar series from CLPS, not from the first session 1, session 2, and now it's session 3. It's very, very wonderful. The 3 sessions, the participant is almost every session is more than 100. So I think that's good enough, the participation, attention, and many questions. Thank you so much for all, especially thank you for organizer, Oli, Kevin, Megan, and CityNet, of course, and also partner. Without partner, we cannot do that. Partner is Jakarta City on behalf Jakarta Research Council on behalf of Jakarta City, and also ICLE, so as is Asia, and CDP, and also yeah, and also GreenEC. So I'm very thankful to all of you, and also the distinguished all the speakers. Yes, wonderful speakers in session 1, Pak Franz, session 2, and today we have the wonderful speakers, distinguished Mayor of Bogor is wonderful, and also Miss Liu and Miss Felicia Jiang and Pak Diki, thank you so much, and Mr. Alexander Angels, thank you. And also to the 3 facilitators for the first day, Pak Kevin, Mr. Kevin, and second day, Miss Maria, thank you so much, and Pak Jeffrey, thank you so much for all that make it happen, and thank you so much. We know what's we already done it since CLP1, CLP2, for CLP3, for CLP already we done, and now the three webinar series. I hope for next year the pandemic is all over, and then we can meet in person. How to we enjoy Bali and the other city, maybe Bogor at this time, and then we wonderful of that. I hope so we can do that. Please pray pandemic will be over. So important things, how the role of the cities give the contribution to the global framework and guidance, and also to national, we call it NDC. So we hope that city has a contribution. So we have like not just national we have an access to finance to develop the cities. So the cities mean it's not just the government, but all the stakeholders, all business. How can we access to all the finance, and also how the cities can resilience? Is it important? Because without resilience to the pandemic, how without resilience to the economic situation, how you can recovery for the economic? I think so many things we can hope we can do for the climate change. So hopefully next year we can meet together, and we can do like Pak Diki said. We need Pak Paul said we need the speakers. Some speakers said we need the building capacity building. That's important thing. Like Pak Diki said, how to make like MRV. MRV is important. How to measure, how a methodology, how to know the methodology, how to the measurement, how to the reporting, how to verification, and also reporting again. This is a point. Maybe it needs to can make it in fast in detail to learning about that, and I hope that we can do that. So, and the other thing, the important things, probably CityNet maybe can support anybody. We can a piloting prototype for that to make such kind of proposal. We make a prototype to do the project is like to using carbon market, carbon finance. Maybe you can share with Diki like for GCM, something like that. So you can learn it. You make a prototype by next year. Thank you.
Yes.
I conclude this webinar series. Thank you very much for all. I hope you can meet next year. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye. So see you.
Thank you so much.